started here in just a minute. We'll get going after the end of this song. That's now.
Welcome to the Tea Party with Marty.
Let's try that again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Tea Party with Marty Abernathy, a show starring a binary trans woman born in the body of a non-binary atheist, trade unionist, equality advocate, and anarcho syndicalist that self-identifies as an unhinged fear pimp, outrage brigade commander, Breeze Peach police officer, SJW, and a bad faith agent of chaos.
Oh dear. I am just barely here. I was literally putting videos on, and I don't know why. I just keep adding shit. Welcome to the show, everybody. It's funny. I was adding videos and I'm just like, oh, I need to put this in. I need to put this in. I've been working on this show all day for you. Anyways. Nerd teacher said, I'm awake, kind of. I worked night shift last night, so I slept until about 2:30. And then I worked on this show. So, yeah, I'm going to bed, and then back to work tomorrow. But I wanted to make this show for you. By the way, I didn't do a show on Wednesday because I was feeling under the weather. So I just figured I would keep the content that I had, and we have a full show tonight. By the way, if you want to help out the show, go to teapartypodcast.com and you can find all my socials there, TikTok. I'm seriously thinking of going off Facebook, of deleting my account, at least my personal account. I don't see the value in it these days for me from a personal standpoint. I mean, the family that I care about, my son is kind of pulled back from Facebook, and I kind of have too, so I don't really see the point. I mean, I don't know. I'm seriously considering it though. But you can still find me on Facebook right now. If you go to teapartypodcast.com, you can also help support the show by going to patreon.com and becoming a member for as little as $1, pound, shekel, krona, Canadian dollar, Mexican pesos, Brazilian real, sorry, or reais. That's the Brazilians call it reais, even though it's spelled with an R. I'm not going to say anything because it's just language, and language is weird the way it works. Anyways, let's get into the show. So, one of the biggest things that this last week has kind of brought to a head is once again a lot of the theory bros online. I mean, they just keep coming, especially for Eric from Black Bloc Politics, and he keeps basically pushing them back. By the way, I'm working on a cool effect, but I haven't got it quite down yet. Let me see if I can do this just to show you. No, I can't do it. Let me see. All right. We're gonna transition over here. Let's do. Let me show you. Watch this. I'm the only one that's impressed by this. But oh, poo! I think I just killed myself there. Getting it to go back and forth. That is gonna be my mission for the next week. In trying to get the show better. Basically, what I want is when I want to make a comment on a video, I want to be able to press the button and for me to get large in the picture. Because that's one thing I noticed when I'm clipping these out on Twitter. You see my tiny little box, and I want to make it so that I can make myself bigger. Anyways, that's my personal geek out. Nerd teacher said, I deleted everything from Facebook except picture of ceramic ducks just because I still get forced to use it occasionally since apparently it's the social network in Slovakia. That's the thing. I don't necessarily care too much about keeping my stuff up there, I guess. I just probably need to go through and do a little housekeeping. But I'm seriously thinking about deleting it. We'll see. Anyways, this is from Black Bloc Politics.
Listen, random white leftists, you can't educate me about theory, right? I know more about this shit than you, right? Because not only have I read it, I've actually applied it in my life and in my community.
This is the person says theory tells you how to abolish the need of a state and who the antagonists and their allies are.
What I am simply saying is no one gives a fuck about your dog shit theory while they are starving. And it would be to your advantage to help them with their material needs if you want them to even have the time to understand the garbage theory that you white leftists put front and center of everything else. That's my whole fucking point. You understand? Stop attaching the theoretical ideology towards just helping people with their material conditions in your community. This is your last warning. The very last one.
And this person named Teeny Champ kind of puts it in perspective.
So I never forgot about you. I love this conversation and I want it to continue. I feel like I'm not informed enough, and so I'm going to tag some of my favorite comrades that are creators on this app that I feel like would be able to answer your question better than I would. But I will point out one thing, that capitalism did help communism. Engels' dad owned a factory, and Engels paid off all of Marx's debt, and then they were able to fuck around because he came from wealth. And that's part of the point, though, is that when you take care of people's material needs, then they can pursue other things, which was only able to happen in that system because they had access to money. But if it seems like this entire movement is centered around white dudes not doing a lot and sitting around theorizing, it's because it's been like that since the beginning. the part of communism that helps people is when you go out and meet their material needs. But I did just want to thank you for joining the conversation. I'm glad you're here with us.
And the person said, so it's technically up for debate, or is the idea that everyone sharing communism, whether it's by choice or force, is irrelevant? So, and black bloc politics, I'll get back to him.
It seems like I have to reactivate dunk mode on a white leftist at least once a week. So let's talk about it. Now, I want everybody to take notes of the white leftists talking about people's looks who were raging out in my comment section yesterday, because they are a perfect example of the Trump to Bernie type voter. You see, these types are mainly looking for attention. They don't have any solutions outside of some bullshit theory that they read. You see, before coming here and trying to further my argument, which they didn't do, they just brought up theory. That video with the grass, that was like the amount of shit that they posted. And here's what they posted after me in one day. Now, if they really wanted to further my argument, they would have added ideas as to how you can help provide people with material need in their community outside of theory. But no, that wasn't their point. They just wanted to circle the conversation back to theory. So I asked them, hey, could you post a video explaining revolutionary theory? And they did, but it wasn't revolutionary theory. You see, what they just did is reiterated the shit I already know and didn't actually offer a solution. Now, I won't bore you with the 3-minute snooze fest, but here is some of it.
In a reductionist form, private enterprise, due to monetary and political incentive, repress your individual rights and oftentimes oppress your day-to-day life. They do this through multiple means. One of the means is...
No, I did not ask you to explain systems of oppression to me. I asked you to make a video explaining revolutionary theory, which is how to build...
Imagine a white guy trying to school a black person on systems of oppression. It just blows my mind.
Society after capitalism and imperialism isn't a thing anymore, but you don't comprehend that. Now, I didn't ask you to make a video explaining systems of oppression to me. I asked you to make a video explaining revolutionary theory. It appears you don't know the difference. Now, if you've been here before, you know I'm absolutely in love with the Black Panther Party, but I do disagree with the one choice that they made, which was inviting the young patriots into the fold, because they were basically just a bunch of racist Southern white boys. Even this walnut has proven my point even further by calling me a racial agitator. Now, I recommend not engaging this clown anymore, and I'm going to take my own advice, because all you're going to get with white leftists like him, if they could even be called that, is centering themselves and talking over you. In fact, functionally homeless, I don't believe that. I just believe you're so goddamn insufferable that people don't want to be around you. So for the 15th time, if you have the means to help people in your community with their material needs, just do that. Shut the fuck up about theory, because nobody wants to hear it, especially from a dry-ass, mediocre white boy like yourself.
That was scorching hot. But this, I think, puts it all into perspective when it comes to this whole fucking theory versus praxis stuff.
Level. And this is where I really like what Black Bloc Politics said, where praxis makes permanent. Don't just tell these people about communist theory, show them communist theory in action.
So the older I get, the more that I realize that these lessons were instilled in me at a very young age. And those of you who have been watching,
and that's what he was saying, praxis makes permanent. It's not somebody sitting at like a fucking homeless shelter where they're demanding to be able to preach to you. Like, it's not an exchange. I mean, I played it, I think, on the last show or the show before, where this guy's going, oh, it's just charity if there's no exchange. And that, for this mutual aid, that you should get something in return. and it's such a capitalist way of thinking. But like to make the praxis, to make the work kind of solidify the theory in people's heads, it's not about this fucking exchange. It's about them seeing you and saying, hey, I want to do this for other people. I want to be like that. Nerd teacher says, genuinely, don't get these bastards who want to make the communist Salvation Army is such garbage. Why mimic them with theory? Exactly. It's absurd. And it's one of those things that, like, to make this stuff matter, to make the theory matter to a way where it's in there and it's stuck and you're living it and you're expressing it through your action, that's real. I mean, that actually has impact, rather than you forcing someone to sit in front of you and listen to your words. And to be honest with you, in those situations, it's like when I was at school, I didn't want to learn about fucking American history. I was like, I didn't give a fuck. You want to be engaged in a way where you're learning something, and you have to be engaged and care about it. And you care about it if somebody's actually fucking impacting your life. So it's frustrating when you have people that continued on this path. It's like this lust for theory. Anyway,
watching the channel for some time, no, I've made no secret of the fact that my first 12 years on this planet were raised by people who were addicted to crack cocaine. Now, by the age of 6, I was cutting class to sweep barbershop floors, to pump gas at gas stations, to help carry groceries to cars, just because I knew that I needed to have some money in my pocket to feed me and my brothers, because the people who were raising us were more than likely going to use it on their fix. But there was one person, sort of like a bigger brother / uncle to me. His name was Gaylord Mercer, aka Snoop. And Snoop would gather us all up on Sunday, me and my brothers, and he would take us down to a soup kitchen. We'd eat our fill, and then at the end, we would take anything that's left over, the soup and the bread, and we would carry it back to our neighborhood and pass it out amongst the people who needed it. Snoop did this every Sunday with us. And over the course of time, the group of kids that he brought with him got larger and larger, to the point where at the end, we had so many people carrying things back that we were able to feed the whole neighborhood every Sunday. Now let's fast forward to 12, when my mother finally stopped using and discovered her Jewish heritage, which she wanted me to learn also. However, I quickly got, after going from synagogue to synagogue, that the vast majority of white Jews do not take kindly to Black Jewish people. And now we can segue into the age of 16, where I was recruited by the Black Hebrew Israelites, partly because of how I was treated by white Jews, but also because they were actually doing work within my community and helping with my material needs. Now, the Black Hebrew Israelites are an extremely homophobic and transphobic group. In fact, they actually divide the Black community. However, they are in their community performing mutual aid for the elderly, for the unhoused, and yes, for children. There is no better way to radicalize someone than to show them that you care about their material conditions. So what does this all mean? Well, plain and simple, it wasn't until I was an adult who didn't have to worry about the day-to-day basic needs that I was able to understand that this lesson was instilled in me as early as age 6 and then used as a weapon at age 16. Praxis makes permanent.
And that's spot on. And nerd teacher said it's why, like, Sikh organizing often does super well, even in non-Sikh communities. And I'm like, I literally have an example of this. Like, working in the health service, there were two communities that fed us during the worst of COVID. The Muslim community and the Sikh community. There were no free fish and chip dinners. But there was a lot of curry. And like, that meant so much to us. They were literally feeding us. And it was amazing. Anyways. So let's get back to Marxist Cretan puts this perfectly.
The way some of y'all simp for capitalism and billionaires in my comments section has really got me believing that you think that the capitalism genie is going to see your comment and grant upon you the wealth of a billionaire. Because, like, what other reason would you have to go to bat for these billionaires? They don't need you. They don't like you. They don't care about you. They don't know you exist. They would be totally fine with you dying as long as it turned them a profit.
And like, this is what I don't get. Like, you'll have people that will simp for capitalism. I mean, like, take this. This is from Commie Trucker.
We don't want anything from you.
Literally, there's somebody that says, come and take it then. Bring your friends too, please. And it's like, what? Like, we're talking about the unhomed.
We want the millions of empty homes being hoarded by corporations and the wealthy to be used to house the homeless.
Like, people don't comprehend. Like, literally, there are people without houses because of capitalism and the way that real estate works. There are houses that sit empty because of a rental market. It's fucking landlords. I mean, I know we can sit there and talk about Leto's guillotines and landlords. But for fuck's sake, like, literally, if you don't understand how the problem with housing works, you have a housing market and then you have a rental market. If you're taking all the houses that people can buy and you're renting them, you're taking them off of the market to be sold, and that to be personal property, not or to be private property, or personal property, not private property. But it's the private property, the property that makes a profit and is not for living in, that is the problem. It's what causes housing shortages. I mean, but these fuckers, why? Are you a landlord yourself? I mean, that's the only reason. Like, and I know some landlords, and they'll even say, I don't want to be doing this. But it's literally something that actually doesn't do anything. And it's fun. It's funny. It reminds me of this also from Commie Trucker.
All made by millionaires, billionaires.
Millionaires and billionaires don't produce anything. Their employees do. Capitalists.
Yeah, when we talk about wage theft, this is what we're talking about. Like, literally, your boss is taking your labor and making a profit off of you. They're not doing anything. You're doing it. and they're making the profits. It just blows me away. How can you be against housing homeless people? Unless you're just fucking evil. And here's Retro Waves kind of take on it.
Hey, pal, it's not about thinking like me. I don't give a fuck what you think. But you want to know who do care about what you think? The fucking oligarchs that fucking run this country, that's who. The media that you consume, the education system that you've taken part in, the church that you go to every Sunday, hell, even the sports team that you cheer on, all play a role in keeping capitalism upheld. How fucking twisted is it that people have made everyone in this country and everywhere else think that it is perfectly fine to be a slave, a wage slave? That little pride that you feel from working hard for a fucking paycheck is by design. The dots that I was telling you to connect in that video are the refugee crisis, the climate crisis. All this shit is linked together. And if you don't see that, then that is why they don't want you to see that. They want you to think, and I'm assuming you're American, that you have the privilege of living here and that other countries are just have corrupt governments. It's not us waving our imperialistic fist.
Exactly. Oh my God. And Black Eric comes in with this.
Oh, this right here? This is my comrade Gold Star comment of the day. Is money amory when you love Jeff Bezos and other billionaires despite your own material conditions?
It's like, why the fuck are you simping for these people? Like, they're eating you. You want to talk about eating the rich? These people are literally fucking eating you. How? Like, income inequality is just getting worse. It's just because it's not affecting you and you want to be one of them? Fuck, man. That is quite the fucking drug. And it's worse in America because check this out.
The table behind me shows that the average American works 23% more hours per year than the 10 countries above them on productivity per hour. So either...
And let me give you an example. Back in America, when I was working as a radiographer, I would get about 2 weeks a year to start out. In the NHS, I think they started you out at 23 days. PTO, paid time off. Everything's in one bucket in the United States, in every job I ever worked at. And these were in hospitals in America. You would have one bucket, and it was called paid time off, PTO. I have 6 months. If I get sick, and the first 6 months is paid 100%. I get a paycheck for 6 months if I'm sick. And then another 6 months at half. I mean,
Europeans have a lot of lost potential, or Americans are really overworked, or it's somewhere in between. But what do Europeans do with all that time? Well, they're just paid. They're paid to take between 27 and 36 paid days off a year. That's the legal minimum, so usually it's between 30 and 40. They're paid for maternity leave, paid for paternity leave. They get paid sick days.
Like I haven't had kids in the UK, but from my colleagues that have gotten pregnant, they were off 6 months paid. I believe it's 6 months maternity leave, and you can split it up between the parents. Americans are getting fucked.
So they just get to enjoy their hobbies. Their work weeks are shorter as well, usually between 35 and 38 hours a week. So they spend time with
Yeah, my work week is 37 and a half hours.
family. They do whatever they enjoy, but mostly, yeah, they just live life.
That's what kills me. Nerd teacher says, Maternity here is amazing, like a whole year. You're talking about Slovakia. You're talking about the UK. The UK is the fifth richest nation in the world, not the first. And the first, you're fucked. I mean, this literally is the USA.
Hey, Matt, how you doing, bud? Hey, boss. Yeah, I'm good. I'm just about to go to my daughter's art show at school. The new Roberts account finally went through, so what I'm gonna need you to do is look that over and send any changes by the end of the day. But it's my day off. Really gonna need you to be a team player on this one, pal. Is it okay if I just do it tomorrow? I have plans with my family. But if I let you skip out on work during your day off, then I'm gonna have to let everybody skip out on work during their day off. Yeah, I mean, isn't that just the point of a day off? Sometimes we all just have to suck it up and do what needs to be done, you know? Okay. Yeah, I'll get it done. Hey, so it took all day, but it's finally finished and emailed to you. Just need your signature. Are you serious? It's after 5 o'clock. I'll do it tomorrow.
And that's a parody. But we all know it's fucking true. Anybody that's worked in America has had this kind of bullshit happen to them. Oh, man. So anyways, I had another question for you guys. So tonight I've kind of structured the show a little bit differently. And eventually what I'm going to do is actually have literal segments dividing the show up. And I want to get videos that actually with a title and a little video that plays. Announcing, but like the first one that we did was Theory Bro Reacts, and that's the videos that are in with that. And the second one was Capitalism is Cancer. This one is called The USA is Not Great. I sit there and think about, like, when it comes to this. I mean, like, literally, we just got out of a war without Afghanistan. Guess what?
Racist right-wing warmongers are clamoring for yet another war. It comes as no surprise. There's always another war they want to drag the rest of the world into. We have to speak up against it and stand up to it. But when the left starts clamoring for the same wars, this is when we are in real trouble. This means a consensus has been reached, voices of reason have been silenced or sidelined, and we are on a march toward war that is almost irreversible. And this is where we are right now with China. People in the progressive left also joining in and supporting this narrative, why this is so dangerous and why this is such an urgent warning sign.
People are desperately afraid right now.
Why are they desperately afraid? They're desperately afraid because no one is telling them the truth about what's going on between mainland China and Taiwan. Nobody is telling them the truth that Taiwan is recognized as part of China by virtually every nation on earth, including every AUKUS member, Australia, the UK, and the US. The truth of this is right in front of you, which is what makes this lie about China bullying Taiwan the dumbest lie so far in the 21st century, the dumbest lie so far the West and their media have tried to use to sell a war to the public. The United States really pretends like Taiwan is some sort of independent country that China is bullying. Let's see what their stance is on Taiwan. U.S. relations with Taiwan, again, state.gov. This is the official U.S. Department of State website. U.S.-Taiwan relations. United States and Taiwan enjoy a robust, unofficial relationship. The 1979 U.S. People's Republic of China joint communique switched diplomatic recognition from Taipei to Beijing. In the joint communique, the United States recognized the government of the People's Republic of China as the sole legal government of China, acknowledging the Chinese position that there is but one China and Taiwan is part of China. And if you go and look for where the embassy is in China, the U.S. Embassy, where is it in China? It's here, it's in Beijing. And what do they have in Taiwan? They have the American Institute in Taiwan. They have the American Institute in Taiwan. Again, it's not an embassy, it's not even a consulate.
But
setting the precedent of allowing China to annex a democratic country like Taiwan is...
Okay, he just said Taiwan is a democratic country. Just make a note of it. He's claiming it's a democratic country. We just looked at in black and white what the official positions are of the A in AUKUS, Australia, the UK in AUKUS, the UK, and the US. We just saw what their official positions were. Taiwan is not a country. It is part of China. There's only one government, and it resides in Beijing. And so he's calling it a democratic country. This is a lie. It's the dumbest lie yet, being told over and over again to the American people as to why we need to intervene. This because China's going to annex a democratic country. It's already recognized as part of China. The only actual country invading other countries right now and also occupying countries right now, right at this moment, they have military forces in Syria and Iraq. In Iraq, they've been there for almost 20 years now. And in Syria, they illegally occupy and hold eastern Syria. And they have specifically said they're doing it to deprive the Syrian economy of food and energy, to basically starve and freeze the people to death. That this is what they said they're doing. And this is what they're doing openly on the global stage. And they're saying we need to intervene in regards to Taiwan to stop China from getting Taiwan and then setting a precedent where it might invade other countries, when the US is the only country right now on the global stage doing this, of course, side by side with their allies. And people are dumb enough to believe this.
I think Noam Chomsky called that manufacturing consent, and it's fucking happening again. Jesus Christ. But not surprising.
Following Stephen Donziger's 6-month sentence for exposing Chevron's crimes, Lee Campus said this on Twitter. In 1 week, we found out the United States would imprison Stephen Donziger, and we confirmed that they had planned to kill.
Well, nerd teacher, hold on. Let's actually look, and I know it's not necessarily. If you look down here, yes, officially the Republic of China. If you look down here, where is it? PRC. The political status of Taiwan is contentious. The ROC no longer represents China as a member of the United Nations after the UN voted in 1971 to recognize the PRC instead, People's Republic of China. The ROC continued to claim to be a legitimate representative of China and its territory, although it has been downplayed since its democratization in the 1990s. Taiwan is claimed by the PRC, which refuses diplomatic relations with countries that recognize the ROC. So, and like he said in the original piece, this isn't something. I mean, you can. Oh, whoa. Let's put that back over here. You can sit there and say, that it is a you said it doesn't even recognize itself as part of China, but the rest of the world does. And the internal politics, like I said, it's not like this is something that the United States should go to war over. It's manufacturing consent to get in another fucking war.
Assange. One of these men showed us the truth about US.
This is actually, I want to play it again, but literally the United States is imprisoning people that call out American foreign policy that's shit. They're whistleblowers, and this is what's happening. It's a whistleblower.
Stephen Donziger's 6-month sentence for exposing Chevron's crimes. Lee Campus said this on Twitter. In 1 week, we found out the United States would imprison Stephen Donziger, and we confirmed that they had planned to kill Assange. One of these men showed us the truth about US war crimes, and the other revealed big oil's crimes. Now both are locked up. This is what fascism looks like. It's a strong statement, isn't it? But this is what fascism looks like, at least.
I find this is interesting. It says early warning signs of fascism, powerful and continuing nationalism. I mean, literally, what is fucking MAGA? Disdain for human rights. Look at what's happening at the border. Look at what's happening with Syria. Look at what is happening in Yemen. The United States doesn't give a shit. I mean, look at what's happened with Haitians trying to come into the United States. They don't care. Identification of enemies as a unifying cause. Supremacy of the military. Rampant sexism. Controlled mass media. Obsession with national security. Religion and government intertwined, corporate power protected, labor suppressed, disdain for intellectuals and the art, obsession with crime and punishment, rampant cronyism and corruption, and fraudulent elections.
At least according to the Holocaust Museum. Pause the video and just go down and tick.
This is the Holocaust Museum. I think they know what fascism is.
Every statement that applies to the country that you live in. Petrified yet?
Oh, I kind of knew. And nerd teacher, I know you said I think the guy is promoting it in a way that muddies the waters, and I do agree with that. It's not as clear cut as he makes it, but at the same time, it's clear enough that there's no way that the United States should go to war with China over Taiwan when the rest of the world doesn't even recognize it. I mean, again, I love how people will talk about America cares about peace and democracy.
Remember this, that the U.S. provides military assistance to 73% of world's dictatorships, whenever people try to tell you that America cares about peace and democracy across the world.
I don't know if I still have it, but like, oh my God, here it is.
I understand that by engaging with this comment, as I was in my previous video, I'm engaging in the red herring fallacy that you're throwing around. Because the original comment that you responded to was a comment pointing out that 54% of working Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That's a fact that you didn't want to discuss. So you started talking about something else, which is textbook red herring, and would not stand in any kind of formal debate. In fact, it would cost you the point. And I was going to provide you with a list of countries that the US has invaded militarily, economically sanctioned, or meddled in democratically since the inception of the US, but there's so fucking many. So I thought it would be easier to give you a list of countries that they haven't invaded, economically sanctioned, or meddled in democratically. There you go. That's it.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Well, nerd teacher said because we wanted to exploit China. I mean, the fact that ROC isn't recognized is largely our fault as well, because we wanted to exploit China. And that's still the case. That's what this manufacturing a war with them, because China's starting to actually kind of, eventually China is going to be the leading economy in the world. That's just, it's going to happen. Like America is transferring its wealth to China. It's going to happen. But I do think this is funny as shit. It's easier just to go, these are the countries they haven't fucked with. Anyways, time for a little propaganda. A little commie propaganda.
Hey, if you're like me and you have children to worry about and you are sick of corporate America making the decisions instead of the voters, here's one way that we can take action. It's time to hit them where it counts in their pocketbooks. We need to boycott or strike all 3 major holidays this year. So no spending at corporate America for Halloween, Thanksgiving, or Christmas. You need to shop local, shop used, secondhand, make your gifts, give the gift of an experience instead of a plastic something from a big box store. I know this is a lot to ask for parents, especially if you have to do your shopping last minute. So if we get the message out now at Halloween time that we're not spending corporate at Christmas, then we'll have the time to shop local and buy from small business. I know it feels hopeless right now, but these small actions as a collective will make a huge impact. Please join us.
I wanted to talk about something. So, I think, I didn't look at this before the show. Bum, 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 bum. I wish I could find it. So I forget the name for American Johnson, but let's see. Does anybody remember? I mean, does anybody remember this? Yeah, so that was the general strike 2020 that didn't happen. And then let's look. Let's do this. Yeah, here we go. Oh my God. So supposedly, there was supposed to be an October 15th. Now apparently the site's down. I'm having yeah, here we go again. Didn't fucking happen. Like literally the site is fucking down. Oh my God. Now there have been companies that have been striking, but a general strike, no. And there isn't the actual support for a general strike. There isn't the literal material means. I mean, less than 10% of the workforce in America is unionized. So you couldn't have a general strike. Nerd teacher says, do not participate in the economy. What kind of demand is that? And that's the thing with the holiday strike. It's not saying don't participate in the economy. It's saying do it in ways that support your local community, creators in your local community, and things. I mean, you can do Etsy. You can make sure that it isn't a reseller. But if you're talking about creators and supporting people that create locally, and that could mean in the country that you're in, or it's just basically getting the fuck away from corporate America and telling corporate America to go fuck itself at Christmas. This is when they make their money. And it's sad because, I mean, you have to understand what's going on here. Like literally a general strike, the people had the power to actually say, fuck this, we're going to stop working. We're going to stop right now. And we have the power. If we go on strike, we have the resources that we can support people for months. We can pay for their food. We can keep their material conditions the same as they are now. That isn't the case. And the general strike never had any backing of the unions. It never had any, I mean, it's just pathetic. And Nerd Teacher said it's more targeted with an actionable goal attached. Yes, like literally, and you can make demands based on that. Nerd Teacher said, while I don't think unions are the answer, they're a good tactic. More people need to spend more time reading about how unions actually organized in the 1900s. And you have to understand how they're tied now. A lot of unions can't even strike. They're not allowed to in law. And that literally is how, I mean, you see it here. The RMT, people that work for the RMT are some of the best paid people in the country when it comes in. RMT is the train drivers, transport for London, basically. And they get paid an amazing wage because you know what happens when they don't get what they want? The underground stops. London comes to a standstill. So they have the power to do that. There isn't that power anymore in most of the economy. You can't halt the economy. You can halt people buying things, and this is something that can work. So there are easy ways to do that, and I think it's important that we do that. So that being said, I think this is one of the reasons why the holiday strike is very important, and I'm going to be participating in it as much as I can. And here one of my comrades makes a similar point that I just did.
So today's that dreaded day of October 15th general strike. I've not once supported this thing, but I hope all is well for those who do. Because I myself cannot get behind not spending money when many people have to replenish their groceries and have to.
Now, I was going to take the piss on him because he's doing his laundry. But I've literally made TikToks from bed, so I have not wanted to talk.
Get some kind of food, and it's a Friday. A lot of people typically eat out on a Friday. But also, I mean, has there been any explanation of a safety net, financial and otherwise safety net, for the people choosing to protest in any kind of way? I don't think so. I think this is going to do more harm than good. But solidarity to those who are participating, and I hope y'all do some good. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a job interview later on today. Gotta take a shit, take a shower, get dressed, and kick some ass. Y'all have a good one.
Oh my God. So yeah, that's been a huge failure as far as I'm concerned, but it's literally like, is this going to be is this going to be the left's version of a war on Christmas? Something that never materializes and it's just like this ghost? I don't know. But did you know, Nerd Teacher said, I think one of the best labor history books I read was Silk Stockings and Socialism, because the author outlined so many of the tactics that were used. I'd be interested in reading that. Thank you for that suggestion. And also highlighted how often the union rank and file tended to ignore the uppers. Well, that's part of the problem too. When you have a cozy relationship between corporate and the top of the unions, which tends to naturally happen. Sorry, I got distracted with the song. Dun 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 dun. Anyways.
Good girl in a straw hat with her arms out in a...
This says, and all the believers were together and held all things in common. They sold all their property and possessions and distributed the money to those according to their needs.
Cornfield, that is a scarecrow.
Jesus was a communist. It's true. I know Christians can't stand to oh my God. I was going to play this later in the show, but I think it applies. But Christians are just ridiculous anyways.
No, because I legit can't stand when Christians do this. I can't stand it. I'm from a small town in southern Maryland with more churches than grocery stores. I know this translates to, you've just done or said something that's made me aware of the fact that you are gay, and I am homophobic and or transphobic, but I can't say that out loud. So I'll settle for a very passive-aggressive, Jesus Christ loves you. Christians love to say shit like hate the sin, love the sinner, it's not you, I just disagree with your lifestyle, and act like that's not homophobic. It is. If your version of Jesus is really the kind of guy who thinks what his followers should be doing is passive-aggressively harassing any gay and or trans person on the internet, I don't want his love. And I'm really not interested in any not all Christians are like that bullshit, so you can just go ahead and put that back in your pocket. I am more than comfortable. I am very happy living in sin. So you can go ahead and you can take that back to your little Jesus Christ and let him know.
Not the commie Jesus. Kenna, not the commie Jesus. Commie Jesus loved you, but in a whole different way. He wants us to support your material conditions in life and uplift you. Oh my God. So, Retro Waves has been talking about TikTok here.
Ooh, I feel this with my core. I really do. Hey, how y'all doing?
I can't. Get out. Oh my God, I gotta do that thing for Nickelodeon.
So what's happening? The last thing I remember is a bunch of workers were going on strike, and I stopped buying Kellogg's products. So, yeah. You want to see some books? This, and this. I don't know, man. Every time I try to post something, this app is like, we're going to review it. It's like not even worth it to post anymore. I know I have a lot of people watching me and depending on me, and don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna post on this app whenever it allows me to, but I don't know what I need to do. It doesn't like me anymore. And I'm not an ass kicker, so I don't know, I'm not gonna change who I am and what I post about just so this app will allow me to post. I don't know, capitalism still sucks at the end of the day, so that's my message to you.
And that's my message to you. We're gonna move on from that. Oh, all right. We'll just ask the question.
Have you or anyone you know been radicalized by the effects of communism? Good. That's probably for the best.
Oh. Yes, Kitty. Kitty matters. So now we're going to talk about the next category is COVID conspiracy. And this makes me viruses don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck what your politics are. They don't give a fuck who you supported in the last election cycle. They don't care if you're conservative or if you're a fucking communist.
This is Ryan, 24 years old in Florence, Mississippi, anti-vaxxer in the ICU with COVID. No prior health issues that we were aware of, and overall, looks pretty healthy. Back in May, he was praising Greg Abbott and his no mandates in Texas. You know, freedom. And somehow this statement by Kamala Harris turned into a meme in June. Yeah, I don't even know how that happens. Apparently in August, when Smith Memorial Healthcare decided to mandate vaccines, Ryan here thought everyone was going to just walk out. However, shortly after, on August 19th, he was asking for a COVID test. I wonder why. And then on August 21st, never have I ever had shakes from a fever like this. I can barely even hold on to my phone. This shit is no joke. We know. Very next day, it's a hell of a roller coaster on how sick he's feeling. And this message from him was probably the most telling because someone in his comment section was kind of pushing back that COVID wasn't that big of a deal and that he needs better medical care. And he's like, they're doing all they can to save my life. Apparently, the mother of his young child was begging for miracles and prayers because he was fighting for his life on September 28th. And while it hasn't been confirmed, this was posted within the last 24 hours, and I am pretty sure it's referring to him. COVID doesn't care if you believe in it. COVID doesn't care if you're young. COVID doesn't care if you don't have pre-existing conditions. COVID doesn't care if you have young children. COVID doesn't give any fucks about what you've done in life. So here's a thought. Get fucking vaccinated. Like, get fucking vaccinated.
And here's another one.
I wanted to
from
share the
Jeff.
story about an ICU nurse and a family. This is Eric and Emily Robinson, and she was 7 months pregnant when she contracted COVID and was hospitalized. Due to COVID complications, she had to get an emergency C-section 2 months before her due date. This was their first child together. And on August 25th, they welcomed their first baby, Carmen. Sadly, a month later, on September 20th, she passed from COVID. And Eric became a single father overnight. No baby supplies in sight. And this ICU nurse, Ashley Swartz, stepped in.
You know, this does kill me. They will have these stories. It'll be like, oh, look what. Because I was listening to A Slice of Ham, which is the podcast from Mr. Hamilton. And they were talking about these kids, 13 kids that had been abused in California. And they were talking about, oh, the community came out and they just hugged these kids. And I did the math on how much money was raised, and it was like $13,000 per child. $13,000 isn't shit. It's not going to get you through college. It's not going to get you. I mean, it's just like literally the kind of support that this guy should be having. He should have all this stuff automatically. He shouldn't have to depend on. This is something that people should be supported when something like this happens. They shouldn't have to depend on fucking the kindness and the charity of others. They should be able to be supported. And it's shocking that that's not the case for the richest country in the world.
And she saw Eric down the hall sitting in a chair and staring at a glass door, and it broke her. And she decided to create a baby registry online to stock Carmen's nursery with the essentials. In a week time, the entire registry was filled. And donations poured in from all around, strangers helping this family. But this was the part. Eric said he has never known the kindness and strength of nurses, and said can't wait to tell Carmen about all the support when she is older. And this quote, I've literally watched nurses work until they collapse in chairs because they're trying to help so many people out. In the month of August alone, 22 pregnant mothers passed from COVID, never meeting their babies, and some of their babies also not surviving. Those stories, because I get a pregnant mom being hesitant about a vaccine, and then if she lands on any side of the misinformation campaign, putting her and her child's life at risk. So my heart breaks for this family and the countless other moms to be that have the same story. I don't know. I'm tired because the people that I'm pushing back against want to call me a bully and want to say that I'm like horrible for showing these stories. Here's the deal, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. If this story changes one person's fucking mind, I don't give a shit what you think of me. If making a video and stitching somebody's disinformation makes somebody go, oh, I didn't see this, and it changes their mind, I don't give a shit if you think I'm a bully. I don't give a shit. Because these stories are the ones that need to be heard. These stories are the ones that matter, and your misinformation is fucking killing people and ruining lives. So it is what it is.
And those people, I mean, anti-vaxxers, this is the kind of fuck shit that they're doing right now.
Oh no, you don't agree? You know how when you have conversations with anti-vaxxers and they're telling you about their research and their experience and what they know about the vaccine and COVID and how it's survivable, and everybody else is replying to them with science, facts, research, all that stuff. And they're like, well, I researched it. I know what I'm talking about. You all are the same. You know the sheer exhaustion you get when you have those types of interactions? Like they're just not grasping reality, and you have to live through this. You have to live through the mass death, the harm caused, the fear about your future. That's the exact same feeling Black people get when somebody white disagrees with us on their racism. You may strongly disagree, but I really don't see why your opinion matters. Because not only is your opinion wrong, but it's also informed by propaganda meant to make you feel better about yourself. So you perpetuate harm on our communities while simultaneously believing you're the victim.
And that's a strong point. But literally, and this is what anti-vaxxers are doing as well. Check this shit out.
The Holocaust started out with dehumanizing the Jewish community. Sounds a lot like attacking anti-vaxxers. Jesus help me, they're back. A putz and a schmendrick. So this comment was left on a literal video of a Holocaust survivor, requesting that people stop comparing mask mandates to the Holocaust. I'm gonna tell you something, Tall Guy Nation. The last time this man saw his father was on the way to an extermination camp. He was forcefully evicted from his home and ate scraps to survive. All of it purely because he's Jewish. Even those who had converted to Christianity to save themselves were targeted because they were considered racially impure. And you? You are being bribed with free chicken and donuts to take medicine that is good for you. Get a grip.
But that's literally the case. And you have to ask yourself why these people are the way they are. And I think this explains it perfectly.
In the demon-haunted world. My feeling, Charlie, is that it's not that pseudoscience and superstition and New Age so-called beliefs and fundamentalist zealotry are something new. They've been with us for as long as we've been human. But we live in an age based on science and technology with formidable technological powers.
Science and technology are propelling us forward at accelerating rates.
That's right. And if we don't understand it, by we, I mean the general public, if it's something that, oh, I'm not good at that, I don't know anything about it, then who is making all the decisions about science and technology that are going to determine what kind of future our children live in? Just some members of Congress? But there's no more than a handful of members of Congress with any background in science at all. And the Republican Congress has just abolished its own Office of Technology Assessment, the organization that gave them bipartisan, competent advice on science and technology. They say, we don't want to know. Don't tell us about science and technology. That we've arranged a society based on science and technology in which nobody understands anything about science and technology. And this combustible mixture of ignorance and power, sooner or later, is going to blow up in our faces. I mean, who is running the science and technology in a democracy if the people don't know anything about it? And the second reason that I'm worried about this is that science is more than a body of knowledge. It's a way of thinking, a way of skeptically interrogating the universe with a fine understanding of human fallibility. If we are not able to ask skeptical questions, to interrogate those who tell us that something is true, to be skeptical of those in authority, then we're up for grabs for the next charlatan, political or religious, who comes ambling along. It's a thing that Jefferson lay great stress on. It wasn't enough, he said, to enshrine some rights in a constitution or a Bill of Rights. The people had to be educated, and they had to practice their skepticism and their education. Otherwise, we don't run the government. The government runs us. You see, people read the stock market quotations and financial pages. Look how complex that is. And
Because they know the direct connection to their own.
There's a motivation, but they're capable. Large numbers of people. People are able to look at sports statistics. Look how many people can do that. Understanding science is not more difficult than that. It doesn't involve greater intellectual activities. But the thing about science is, first of all, it's after the way the universe really is and not what makes us feel good. And a lot of the competing doctrines are after what feels good and not what's true.
Okay, but
And that is the case here. People want to know, they want to pretend like this isn't a problem. It's not an emergency. It's not a health emergency. We're not in the middle of a pandemic. I feel like you can just ignore it because they don't believe in science. I mean, I wasn't going to talk about this, but let me see if I can find it, because I actually had let me see if I can find it. God damn it. Jordan Joan P there to like and retweet my tweet. Thank you, Jordan Joan P. This guy literally put a question up saying, is Joe Rogan the most trusted journalist in America now? And I said, is Joe Rogan the most trusted, or is Joe Rogan an anti-vaxxer now, is the better question. And you have Jimmy Dore and Glenn Greenwald supporting a crusade against CNN. Why? Their quibble with CNN is that they called it, in the case of Rogan, a horse dewormer, when in fact what he took was a human dewormer / anti-parasitic medication. That's the big lie. Ignoring the fact that it's not approved for use with COVID. What did Rogan say? This is literally what he said. I think you should get vaccinated if you're vulnerable, he said. I think you should get vaccinated If you feel like my parents are vaccinated, I've encouraged a lot of people to get, and people say, do you think it's safe to get vaccinated? I've said, yeah, I think for the most part it's safe to get vaccinated. I do. But if you're like 21 years old and you say to me, should I get vaccinated? I'll go, no. He continued, are you healthy? Are you a healthy person? Like, look, don't do anything stupid, but you should take care of yourself. You should, if you're a healthy person and you're exercising all the time and you're young and you're eating well, like, I don't think you need to worry about this. Like, literally, there's thousands of people dying in Brazil or have died in Brazil that were in their 30s because of stupid shit like this. What do actual experts say? You know? I mean, like, literally, let me see if I can find it. I don't like the way Twitter. Oh, there's me. Hello. Now I had somebody literally come by because Texas schools call for opposing views on the Holocaust, and there's audio saying that, and somebody said, Derek Gaskin said, everything needs questions, believe nothing. And I said, your boot, sir, because fuck that. The Jewish question has been answered fucking 74 years ago. Go fuck yourself. There shouldn't be. It's both sides bullshit. Oh yeah. Art. And I can't see my other. Oh, here it is. Hold on. This is what Fauci said. Fauci said, asked Wednesday on the Today Show about Rogan's remark, Fauci was adamant that young people should get vaccinated. You're literally talking. I'm sorry, David. Did I say America? The United States? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, honey. And I'm not calling David honey. I'm actually, that's a pet peeve of my partner because she's a South American and she's also an American. Ask Wednesday on the Today Show about Rogan's remarks. Fauci was adamant that young people should get vaccinated. You can get infected, and you will get infected if you put yourself at risk. And even if you don't have symptoms, you're propagating the outbreak because it's likely that you, even if you have no symptoms, may inadvertently and innocently then infect someone else who might infect someone else who could have a problem with a severe outcome. Like, this is one of the highest esteemed professional scientists in the world when it comes to infectious diseases and viruses. He's a leading scientist in the field. Oh, God damn. You know, it's this intellectual bullshit that Sagan's talking about here.
You got to make, I'm not sure you'll go this far with me, but I mean, there's a lot of that is about feeling good, and there's a lot of that that's about hocus pocus. But at the same time, there are millions of people who understand science does not prove religion, but because religion is faith-based. And therefore, you should not deny the value of it because it is faith-based and not scientific.
But let's look a little more deeply into that. What is faith? It is belief in the absence of evidence. Now, I don't propose to tell anybody what to believe, but for me, believing when there's no compelling evidence is a mistake. The idea is to withhold belief until there is compelling evidence. And if the universe does not comply with our predispositions, Okay, then we have the wrenching obligation to accommodate to the way the universe
But I think
really
you,
is.
so you step forward to say, I deny all religion because I can't see it proved scientifically?
No. You see,
and the value of religious experience and the value of reaching for higher experiences.
Let me say, religion deals with history, with poetry, with great literature, with ethics, with morals, including the morality of treating compassionately the least fortunate among us. All of these are things that I endorse wholeheartedly. Where religion gets into trouble is in those cases that it pretends to know something about science. The science in the Bible, for example, was acquired by the Jews from the Babylonians during the Babylonian captivity of 600 BC. That was the best science on the planet then. But we've learned something since then. Roman Catholicism, Reformed Judaism, most of the mainstream Protestant denominations have no difficulty with the idea that humans have evolved from other creatures, that the Earth is 4.6 billion years old, with the Big Bang. They don't have any trouble with that. The trouble comes with people who are biblical literalists, who believe that the Bible is dictated by the creator of the universe to an unerring stenographer.
And so therefore they...
And has no metaphor or allegory.
And from there they make their political and economic choices. And social choices.
And scientific.
And scientific choices. And scientific. And that's part of your problem with that idea.
Exactly.
It is that because for the wrong reasons we make the wrong choices about science.
That's right. So who is more humble? The scientist who looks at the universe with an open mind and accepts whatever the universe has to teach us, or somebody who says everything in this book must be considered the literal truth and never mind the fallibility of all the human beings involved in it. Some people think that every jot and tittle in the Bible is essential. You throw one thing away to allegory or metaphor, then it's up to everybody to make their own decisions.
And that's the problem. Basically, you have an anti-science view of the world. That's Charlie Rose, who was fired for being a perv. David asked this question, and it depends on how you talk about it. Because if you're looking at the total number of deaths, European Union is number 1, and the United States is number 2. If you're talking about cases, let's look. The United States is number 1 in cases. Deaths per million. Peru is number 1. Then Bosnia, America is all the way down at number 19. And the United Kingdom is 23rd. Slovenia is looking. Let's do this alphabetic. Can we do it alphabetically? I think. Oh no. Yes, we can. There we go. Slovakia. The worldwide pandemic. Yeah, I don't know. Damn it, signal. Yeah, so there you go. It depends on how you talk about it, but deaths per million is probably the best way to go about it. God damn it! Stop. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Yeah, but the ones that are up top, oh, there's Slovakia. 13th. That's not something I'd want to be better at the United States on, but yeah, those are the states that are above the United States, but how about yeah, so anyways. Let me see. Let me see if I can quickly turn off my notifications because I don't think I can quickly do anything right now. Where are you, Signal? I don't need to Zoom to be on either. No, bad dog. That's not good. How about this? How about that? How about that? How about I just turn you off, Signal? I hate that. Anyways, let's get back to the show. God damn it. For a minute, I want to talk about Brexit because here it's not really bothering me all that much, but there is a crisis here. Let's see. Let's see. I'm just reading your guys's. Comments. Nerd teacher says I'm 14. Whoa! And David said, thing is, with a lot of third world countries, haven't even got testing capacity. So, well, here's the thing too. When it comes to COVID, America and other places, they're still treating it like it's a business opportunity, and by doing that, you're fucking yourself because you're just causing variants to fucking travel around the world and come back to kill you. It's like nuclear war. You set off a nuclear weapon, it's going to affect you as well. You're going to harm yourself. It's dumb. Our teacher said we're also giving private companies the ability to charge prices for testing. So some places are €5, others are 10, and others are 15. And when you consider how low our wages are, the fact we're paying anything at all is ludicrous. Average wage in the capital is €1,000. Yeah, that's pretty ludicrous. But here, because Britain's decided to kick itself in the nuts like Peter Coffin, basically you've had David Skog. Nationalism is strange, COVID edition. Right on point. But there's been a few food and fuel shortage here in the UK. You're gonna kill me. UK, the Peter Coffin of countries. Accurate. But luckily for me, it hasn't really affected me because I don't drive. And I pretty much don't have these problems, but there are lines for gas. I mean, it reminds me of the 1970s that way.
So recently in the UK, we've been enjoying food and fuel shortages that are so bad that the army had to be called in to drive fuel in. Some of this is due to the energy crisis, but also due to Brexit. In particular, Brexit is going to cause farming, retail and fuel shortages that might lead to a nightmare Christmas. One of the foremost champions of Brexit, Isabel Oakeshott, appeared on TV to give us this message.
So these predictions of a nightmare Christmas, really? First of all, I do think if your Christmas joy depends on getting a particular type of turkey for lunch or the latest must-have toy for little Johnny, I would suggest you need to take a long, hard look and we really have a think about what Christmas is all about.
So Oakeshott is trying to claim, after years of backing Brexit and dismissing fears of shortage and price rises as Project Fear, that it's both nothing to do with Brexit and that it's secretly a good thing so that we can learn the true meaning of Christmas. This is what happens when people listen to tabloid hacks instead of experts.
And that's pretty much true. And this is what I think is interesting too as well.
There's currently a really bad labour shortage where I live, especially for hospitality workers. And a lot of these businesses are going to places like Facebook to complain. I don't think they quite realise that when you're only willing to pay minimum wage and only are willing to offer 0-hour contracts, of course the places that are offering secure hours and better pay are going to be better staffed than you. Welcome to capitalism.
What I think is funny with that is literally what's happening here is you're going to have to pay better wages or you're going to have to force people through legislation to go back to work, to go to work in jobs that they don't want to work at. Effectively. One of those two things is going to happen. People get out on the fucking streets and say, fuck you. We are not going to work these jobs for nothing. Then people will get paid what they should be, what they're worth. So in a way, this Brexit has become Lexit, which is a left Brexit. So there could be a good side of this, but yeah. Anyways, now we're going to talk about racism. What did I call this segment? I called that one Brexit backfire because that's what it is, a Brexit backfire. This one's called I called it Racism Explained, but I thought this was totally on point. Because, you'll get people that'll say, oh, black people commit more crime.
Oh, look, another sister fister who had the blatant caucasity to come on my page to try to play with me. I got a little time. Stand back and stand by. First of all, you mystery flavored semen settler. If you don't know how to do math, then just say that. Second of all,
mystery flavored semen settler.
white males alone only make up 30% of the population. Well, even if I decided to be nice and say that only 10% committed crime, then that would mean that y'all are still committing crime, especially violent crime, at a much higher rate than black people, and overall still commit more crime per capita. Which is why y'all like to specifically focus on murder and robbery, because those are the only two crimes that black people are disproportionately responsible for. The higher the poverty, the higher the crime rate. And seeing as how only 8% out of the entire 76% of the white population is living in poverty, versus 20 of the 13% of the entire black race that is living in poverty. So that would mean that black people are committing crime at a far less rate than white people given their level of poverty. So your whole white people are the majority argument does not hold any weight. So Marlboro smoking, tobacco chewing, cornstarch crusading, pasty ass off of my page. And while you at it, you and the rest of them napkin Neanderthals can...
Oh my God. Oh, and here's Curvy Black Witch talking about white fishing.
Hi,
First of all, there's no such thing as white fishing. Let's just put that out there. How many times have you seen in history that Black people have been the mockery and the butt of jokes of people, especially when it comes to minstrels or when it comes to our aesthetic being stolen, our culture being appropriated, and our physical features have been mocked and told that we are ugly? Do you know why there are a lot of Black women that do bleach their skin? It's because the beauty standard has told people of my ethnicity that we're not beautiful, that our skin is dirty and ugly, because being dark is not seen as anything great. That is why the bleaching community and the bleaching society that we have out there is so prevalent because of this. That is why it's such a big market in Asia, in Africa, and in the Caribbean. And what do all three of those places have in particular? People of color. So no, there is no such thing as white fishing. Don't even try it. Okay?
Yeah, and like there's always got to be some person that reverse racism exists, or men get raped too, and there's always got to be this, well, the other side. There's always another side. And like there's not white fishing. Like literally, like you have to understand context, and context matters. It's talking about an oppression type of situation. You can't have reverse racism because you can't reverse the power imbalance. So anyways, I thought this was pretty apropos from this person on.
Hey y'all, so I have been watching, if you guys don't follow her, I'll tag her. I think it's called Black Crystal, 4 sevens after that. She asked white people to tell her about a time that they were racist and apologize for it. And because I am a sociologist, I was watching the videos and I noticed a theme. And I think the theme I'm noticing is the nuance that most white people that uphold white supremacy just do not understand. Here's the pattern. The racist incidents happened when they were young. They were taught that. They were modeled that from their parents. They then realized or were told what they did was wrong. And then they self-reflected and self-corrected. None of them said they were shamed. None of them said someone called them out their name or did anything harmful to them. All they did was point out their bad behavior. So hey, I had to come back and do a part 2. I didn't have the foresight to click the 3-minute function, but we're here now. So basically, based off that pattern, what people are supposed to get from that is racism is a learned behavior. All learned behaviors can be unlearned and new behaviors can be learned. At any point in time, if you want to choose to unlearn your problematic belief systems and behaviors, you have the ability to do so. The problem comes in is when you're confronted with your bad behavior, you continue to make excuses, you continue to exhibit the bad behavior, and you continue to gaslight. That's when it becomes problematic, right? Every Black person on this planet knows that all white people are racist because they're conditioned to be. And until they decide to unlearn it, they will continue to be racist. Y'all with me?
Yep. It's a learned thing. And I found this pretty incredible as well. This is from POTUS for Us.
We're talking about Jane Elliott. She's doing it. She's doing it. Not slavery, not Jim Crow.
Let's go back. So Jane Elliott is framing the fight for equality as a battle between whiteness and blackness.
We're talking about Jane Elliott. She's doing it. She's doing it. Not slavery, not Jim Crow, not the prison industrial complex, not redlining. She's doing it. Jane Elliott, the person that is basically calling out the division between white America and Black America and the legacy of racism that got us to now. the thing that you're ignoring because you don't have to suffer it. The people that Jane Elliott makes the most uncomfortable are racists. So you got to ask the person in the mirror a very important question. Have the day you deserve.
And that's totally on point, I think. Oh, and this just happened. Still a cab.
A recently published study has revealed that as many as 50% of the police killings in the United States since the year 1980 may have gone uncounted as actual police killings. This new report was published in the medical journal The Lancet, which is a very well-respected medical journal. They've looked at all the data. They've looked at death certificates. They looked at police reports. They looked at coroner's reports, and they found that roughly 55% of the deaths in the United States since 1980 at the hands of police officers were actually not recorded as such on the official death certificates of the individuals that the police killed. And this amounts to roughly 17,000 people killed by police.
I never mentioned. But if you just comply.
You see that? Look, if he just complied, this won't happen. You can't have a society without rules. Rules are what make us a civilized society. Follow the rules, stuff like this don't happen. What? A mask? Oh, hell no, not doing it. Going to that school right now. What you mean I'm fired? No, I'm not getting that vaccination. I don't care what the rules are. I ain't doing it. I don't need this goddamn job anyway. Man, I don't got a job. Kids can't go to school. Why is this happening to me? Stuff like this wouldn't happen if you would just comply. That's why we have rules. It's what makes us a civilized society.
Yeah, to be a white person.
Well, hello there. Oh, white people, this is for you. Don't you think I want to know how it feels to be white just for one day? From the thin-lipped Karen at Kroger's to the sunburnt face of a white man who's angry for no reason, to the oily-head Samanthas who whisper racial slurs behind our backs. I want to know what it feels like to cut someone to their very core through my privilege alone. Like if I called you a piece of fax paper covered in mayonnaise and sprinkled with audacity. Like if I said your hair was the texture of a wet dog in heat. Or like I said, if you smell like so much jingling change left out in the rain. Or that your lips were as thin as the zip ties that your people used at the January 6th Capitol riot. Oh, my dear rice puddings.
Oh, my dear rice puddings. Oh, God. Oh, so creative. Anyways. Yeah. So, we're going to move on a bit and talk about gender identity turfs, trans rights. But this hoochie god on TikTok that David knows nothing of, that I'm speaking of, mentioned this when it comes to chromosomes, and I thought it was impressive.
People with XX chromosomes and XY chromosomes, said the science kid. Gender is some man-made shit and it has nothing to do with chromosomes. We literally just came out the coochie and freestyled the rest of this shit. Your gender identity has nothing to do with your chromosomes or your reproductive organs or lack thereof. It has everything to do with you and what you decide to do with your life. So, thick titty number 2, sorry, you're wrong.
I love this because people were so pressed with what she was saying, and I'm like, why? It doesn't affect you. Why do you care? Why do you care about another person's gender identity? Why? David is still going on about Vine or about TikTok. Is this like that Vine some people were going on about a few years ago? Yes, David, it's just like Vine. It's just like Vine, only it has an algorithm, so it's even more evil. So Lauren, who we've interviewed on the show, is Gotham Shitty on TikTok, said this.
I was rereading this fascinating article by the co-founder of a radical feminist organization called Red Stockings. It's called Radical Feminism and Feminist Radicalism by Ellen Willis. In it, Willis asserts that the radical feminist movement that she helped spearhead in the 1970s has diverted so much from its original goals and values that the branch has essentially disintegrated. Those who call themselves radical feminists now, she argues, are essentially cultural feminists. That is, those who see the primary goal of feminism as freeing women from the imposition of male values and creating an alternative culture based on female values. I'd like to give a quick summary of this article because I think it offers some very valuable insight as to why radical feminism now is so entrenched in biological essentialism and transphobia. Willis acknowledges two basic weaknesses of the original radical feminist movement that she believes laid the foundation for the splintering of the branch. The first was this: in radical feminism's attempt to stress the foundational role that gender oppression had in society, it ended up ignoring the importance of other social institutions altogether. There was an unarticulated assumption that we could work out our differences solely within a feminist framework and ignore or agree to disagree on other political issues. This made for a very fragile kind of solidarity, and it also excluded large groups of women. Black and working class women could not accept the abstraction of feminist issues from race and class issues since the latter were so central to their lives. Basically, radical feminism lacked intersectionality and complexity. It failed to account for the differences between women. Radical feminism's answer to this problem was the assertion that female oppression was primary and that all other forms of oppression arose from that. And as a way to avoid acknowledging the differences between women, it then proposed a very idealistic notion of universal sisterhood as revolutionary praxis. Commitment to the sex-class paradigm pinned women's hopes for radical change on a millennial unity of women across barriers of class, race, cultural values, and sexual orientation. The gap between what radical feminism promised and what it could deliver without a more complex, multivalent theory and strategy was immense. Willis then said that this gap was filled with ideas such as political lesbianism, female separatism, the all-heterosexual sex is rape line, the assertion that dominance was an inherently male value. I mean, sound familiar? These are exactly the values that self-proclaimed radical feminists espouse today. Willis says the second weakness of the movement was failure to adequately develop a coherent analysis of male or female psychology. That is, a sufficient explanation for how people become gendered subjects: man, woman, masculine, feminine. And this next quote from Willis on what radical feminism turned to instead is spot on. In general, the inheritors of the radical feminist movement have endorsed some version of behaviorism, biological determinism, or an ad hoc, contradictory melange of both. Given the history of biologism as the enemy's weapon, most feminists who draw on it prefer to pretend it's something else, and behaviorist terminology can be useful for this purpose. This is exactly the idea that supports radical feminism's tendency towards transphobia, their reductive and essentialist account of male and female socialization. I already have a video that breaks this down, so check it out for full context. I really recommend for anyone who's interested to check out the full article. It really helped me understand why radical feminism is so bad today.
Yeah, and Lauren actually did something on Dave Chappelle as well that I wanted to post.
So I'm sure that we've all heard about Dave Chappelle's newest comedy special by now, and to call it a comedy special is very generous. To be honest, this was just an extended rant against trans people. Nothing he said was comedically clever or uniquely humorous. He just stood there and dunked on trans people for 20 minutes. You could hear the same jokes from any hateful cis person. The only difference is that he got paid to do it. A lot of trans creators have been rightfully calling this out. Here are a few that I follow that have been making great content on this, so go check them out. I just wanted to add my thoughts on a defense of Chappelle that I find ridiculous, the whole "it's just a joke" excuse. Even Netflix's CEO was using this line. He told employees that content on screen doesn't directly translate into real-world harm. I find it ironic that somebody at Netflix could say this, considering that they were under fire a few years ago for 13 Reasons Why. 13 Reasons Why was a Netflix original that portrayed a very graphic suicide scene. Researchers were able to link the airing of that scene with an increase in real-life suicide rates. There are plenty of other cases of real-world harm that are more relevant to the Chappelle situation. A prime example of hateful media impacting real life was the success of Birth of a Nation, a racist propaganda film from the 1900s. Historians have credited the popularity of that film with a resurgence in the KKK. The group was able to use its racist message as validation for and promotion of its cause. And this is exactly why Dave Chappelle's comments were not just jokes. For bigots, they act as messages of validation. People hear hateful comments like that and interpret it as a form of affirmation for their beliefs. They see a high-profile celeb parroting their own prejudiced thoughts and see it as an endorsement and use it as such. Current case in point, TERFs. They love his new comedy special. They see it as a sign of mainstream acceptance of their movement, and they've capitalized on it to spread their transphobic message. A TERF writer at Spectator Australia even wrote a whole article about how this is such a great thing for TERFs. She says he sees our struggle, he actually wants to listen to what we are saying. And I know Chappelle is not responsible for how people interpret his jokes, but as other creators have pointed out, he is absolutely aware of the impact. Chappelle himself said that he left comedy for a while because he knew that white people were interpreting his jokes through their own racist lens. He is absolutely aware of how his most recent transphobic comments could be interpreted in a similar way. For many cis people watching the special, maybe they were just jokes, but for many others, specifically those with a hateful agenda, they were free promo. They're tools that can be used to validate and sponsor their bigotry.
David said this is just Seinfeld being canceled because he didn't update his material. Here's the thing with Dave Chappelle. Like his jokes, like they aren't even original. He is just literally regurgitating oh fuck, what's that ass fuck's name that was in The Office? I forget his name on the regular on purpose because I don't want to remember it. But he was in the UK version, Ricky Gervais. Fucking asshole. I mean, it's literally just regurgitated Ricky Gervais with a little added in spice. But literally, Eric from Black Bloc Politics, he posted this.
Just in case anybody forgot, let me give you the not so friendly update. I am a cis het man. I paint these nails and I wear shirts like these just for the opportunity to run into transphobes and homophobes on the street. I never do, right? Because I found that they aren't as mouthy face to face as they are online. They never say anything to me, ever. And I know why.
Now I was looking for, because one of my comrades on TikTok actually, she actually posted about it, and I was really, it really hit me. I'm trying to find it really quickly, and that's not working out so well. But God damn it. Where is it? This is fascinating. I'm just trying to see if I can find where her name is. Because I to be honest with you, I just want to play the fucking audio. Oh, I know where I can look. Because we message each other when this is going on. This is let me see if I can find out. Here it is. Actually, I'm going to download this and send it to myself. Yeah, some random geek. I want to forget Dave Chappelle's name because he's such a fucking ass. I mean, not Dave Chappelle, Ricky Gervais, because he's such an ass. He literally, like, he's a transphobe to be a transphobe. And what David was saying, this is just comedians in general when it comes to cancel culture. I mean, you have people like the guys that were both a couple of the guys that were in Monty Python are fucking problematic. Because they John Cleese and oh God, what's his name? Gilliam. Terry Gilliam. Terry Gilliam has made the fucking joke of, oh, I self-identify as a black lesbian. And Cleese went on about cancel culture. And what it boils down to is the people don't find their jokes funny anymore. People have moved on and they literally don't find the shit funny. And somehow that is the fault of the audience and not the comedian.
You're listening to the
Stop it. And that's somehow the fault of the audience. And your whole job as I mean, these are comedians that are just literally just so privileged. They don't care. Nerd Teacher said, put the old cishet comedians who refuse to update material and enjoy being bigoted in a bin and light it on fire. The thing is, people are doing that. People are doing that. And what it comes down to is people that they feel like they're owed. They feel like somehow it is our responsibility to support them in their fucking comedy. I mean, it is the most just it's privilege. It's such a fucked up kind of privilege that you think you have a right to have your content.
These nails.
You have a right to have your content popular. And I'm just, the audacity of that is ridiculous. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be fucking shocked. But it does shock me. It shocks me because it's just ridiculous. And this is one of my fellow creators and comrades posted this.
I hate these nails, and I wear shirts like these.
They essentially make themselves look like what somebody would deem as being part of the LGBTQ community or the queer community in order to instigate somebody coming up to them, like essentially almost wanting to start a fight.
I really just don't think that you needed to make this video at all. First thing I want to say, why on earth did you make the comparison to a goy walking into a group of white nationalists wearing a kippah? Don't make that comparison. It's not the same at all. See, you don't have to be gay and you don't have to be trans to be perceived as such by toxic men.
Exactly.
Queerphobic men will make it very clear that they don't like queer people. Online, they'll do it to just about anybody. But in person, they'll do it to who looks vulnerable.
Yep.
Give you a scenario. If I'm walking alone at night, I see a guy approaching me, he's trying to get my attention, I would be way less worried about what's about to happen if he had painted nails and was wearing a shirt like that. Why? Because I know that he's likely not toxic.
Yep.
If you perceive this as performative, You are not a queer person, and I don't really care about your opinion on that. I know other queer people in your comments.
Now, I feel exactly the same way. If I was walking down the street and I saw somebody that looked like Eric, that had their nails painted and was wearing an ally kind of like t-shirt, it would make me feel safe. It wouldn't make me feel like I was being exploited somehow. It's ridiculous.
Disagree with me, I don't really care about their opinions either. At the end of the day, to me, this is more about safety. To me, this is more of a sign of solidarity with queer people than anything else. As someone who is quite afraid when I'm alone of strange men around me, I would be way less afraid if they showed signs of solidarity like that. Little things like that could make me feel way less tense being in public. And I know plenty of queer people that would feel the same way.
I feel the same way.
Because strange men on the street are strange men on the street. They're scary for women. They're scary for queer people. And if you do not know what that fear looks like, I don't give a shit what you think about this. I may be coming at you kind of hot right now, but I really want you to understand that this is pretty unnecessary. Feel free to disagree with me. I just don't care about your opinion, man. I think you're going at the wrong person right now.
And that's the thing. It was just very unnecessary, and I don't think, like she said, it's not fair to compare the two things, because there's a huge amount of safety in seeing someone we think is, I mean, if I look at my badge at work, that we were giving out rainbow badges, that's so patients, if they see it, they will feel safe knowing that the person is either queer or queer allied. So basically, let's go back to the chat. David said Terry Gilliam used to be edgy and funny, and now he's just old. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with a lot of these guys. They literally think that their comedy is still exactly how it was 25, 30, 40 years ago. And it was brilliant at the time. There's stuff like Life of Brian that's actually absolutely stellar. But the stuff that they're delving in just is not current. I mean, it was current back then. But, you know, I mean, it's not new. Nerd Teacher said there was something about how Dave's special was inefficient and didn't make money back. Yet Netflix executives were like, yes, this is a good idea. It's profitable. David, I mean, I think Netflix, I mean, they're doing backflip. Oh, that reminds me. I don't know if you guys have seen, let me see if I can find a trailer for it. This is the Netflix trailer. I'm gonna bring this over. I usually don't do this. This is my Firefox. You usually don't see my Firefox browser, but this is Nanette.
I don't feel comfortable in a small town. I get a bit tense, mainly because I'm in this situation. And in a small town, that's all right from a distance. People are like, oh, good bloke. I love being mistaken for a man. I wouldn't want to be a straight white man, not if you paid me, although the pay would be substantially better. I do think I have to quit comedy, though. And it's probably not the forum to make such an announcement, is it? I've built a career out of self-deprecating humour, and I simply will not do that anymore, not to myself or anybody who identifies with me. Do you understand what self-deprecation means? It's not humility, it's humiliation. I want my story heard, because what I would have done to have heard a story like mine.
So like, it's funny because I watched this with a cishet. I saw it with some of my queer friends and thought it was just fantastic. And then I watched it with some cis friends, and they just didn't like it and didn't think it was funny. And so, anyways, oh, you guys did see that? Good. So, what's funny, with that in mind, so Hannah Gadsby has come out. She said Hannah Gadsby became one of the biggest stand-up stars a few years ago after the release of her Netflix special Nanette, which I'm still kind of crying. I mean, it makes me cry every time I see it. But which in a lot of ways redefined stand-up comedy. She followed that up with another successful Netflix special, Douglas, which solidified her position in the upper echelons of the stand-up comedy world. Just because Netflix gave her a platform, however, does not mean that they are immune from her criticism. Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos found that out the hard way this week when he unwisely referenced Gadsby in defense of the streaming service's diverse content while defending Dave Chappelle's controversial stand-up special, Closer. So we have Sex Education, Orange is the New Black, Control Z, Hannah Gadsby, and Dave Chappelle all on Netflix. Key to this is increasing diversity on the content team itself. Gadsby did not appreciate being dragged into Sarandos's defense of Chappelle, nor I suspect did she agree that Chappelle's transphobia doesn't translate into real-world harm. And she writes this. Hey, Ted Sarandos, she wrote on Instagram, just a quick note to let you know that I would prefer if you didn't drag my name into your mess. Now I have to deal with even more hate and anger that Dave Chappelle fans like to unleash on me every time Dave gets $20 million to process his emotionally stunted partial worldview. You didn't pay me nearly enough to deal with the real world consequences of hate speech dog whistling you refuse to acknowledge. Ted, fuck you and your moral algorithm cult. I do shits with more backbone than you. That's just a joke. I definitely didn't cross the line because there isn't one. Oh dear. Meanwhile, trans employees and other supporters within the company are moving ahead with their planned walkout on October 20th. And actually, they fired a trans woman. But we won't get anything. We won't get that much further into it. Some random geek said someone guessed I was queer because of my Sailor Moon leggings. She is queer herself. She gave me a flower. Nerd teacher said my rainbow bag that I was carrying my laptop in is a huge clue as to my students about whether or not I was safe for queer kids. And now I get complaints about from the dean of students, who is a massive queerphobe and a general bigot, which is unsurprising. Some random geek. She said to Netflix, "Fuck you." Yes. Hannah is absolutely fucking brilliant. I mean, this just made, I loved her content because it registered with me so much. But the fact that she did this just makes it so much better. David said, you couldn't make Blazing Saddles today because of the political correctness gone mad. That misses the point. It was subversive when it was made, of course. Nerd teacher said, a whole chunk of it wasn't meant to be funny, but damn if it wasn't appreciated. Ted sounds like the dude I work with who is like, how is the queer revolution radical? Have they seen Netflix? And I had to explain to him what rainbow capitalism was. Exactly. So, yeah, I thought Hannah's response was absolutely stunningly brilliant, and I loved it. But when as I want to talk about predators and bathrooms, with all the talk around the trans issue there. Check this out.
This may be an unpopular opinion, but I do believe that we have to keep our children safe. And that means keeping predators out of our restrooms. I know there's been a lot of talk about this recently in the news, and I don't feel comfortable with a grown man, and yes, they're men, walking in on my child using the restroom. And that's why I firmly believe that all restrooms should be priest-free. Now, ideally, I would love to see the Catholic Church as a whole and all churches just abolished entirely, but we do have freedom of religion in this country. But at the very least, children should not be anywhere near priests ever again. Save the children.
I absolutely love this because they want to talk. What about the children? Well, what about little boys? Little boys are molested in school by who? By women teachers. So they shouldn't be able to teach boys then, right? Right? See, now that's funny. That's comedy. It's not transphobic. It kind of plays on trans issues, but it's not transphobic. I had a couple posts now. I didn't realize who this person was. But there's a show called Dear White People. Oh God. And she's a woman of color. Anyways, I'm not gonna go searching for her name right now. She has a TikTok account, and she posted a couple videos of talking about trans women, and when you get into these conversations with people talking about appropriation and nerd teacher, that's what everybody's getting upset about, but she's not. So anyways, I'm just going to play it. She's talking about desirability and seeing trans women. I'm just going to play it.
Very last thing. I think the reason Nikita and other girls like Eden the doll, I think the reason why they use their desirability and their connection to guys and out them, they don't out them. They just do what every other Taylor Swift, every other rapper does, right? They just say, I was with this person and that person. But I think the reason they do it is because they want to show that they're valued. And I think this world, how transphobic our society is today, it so diminishes, our value. And they're saying, look at how sexy I am. Look at how much these men want to be with me. Aren't I great too? Don't I glitter? And isn't my womanhood just as valid as hers? And so I feel for them. I really do.
And there are so many fucking people writing about this showrunner, but there's literally nobody that's talking about this creator here. So anyways, but her point is spot on, and she makes it on this second video as well.
Well, my my love, this is my point of the video. My point is the reason why I believe that Nikita and Eden and women like them reduce their womanhood and reduce their transness to how sexy they are is because that is where in which they find their value.
And that is where most women are valued in society. And you're asking trans women to not be what cis women already are involved in. The society around you. Like, we're not supposed to live in that society.
They don't find their value in their intelligence. They don't find their value in the way that they're able to accumulate friendships and the people that make up their lives and the charity that they do. They find their value by being beautiful. And every woman in this society understands how desirability translates to value. That's with any woman. Any woman. That's with any woman, okay? So
like, you may not be beautiful, I'm not, but you do understand how it works in society.
Get it, and I can have empathy for that, but we can also critique it.
And it's like holding trans women up as that they should be something outside of the society. They should be something more. I'm looking right now. I wanted to people are making a big deal about the showrunner, which I had to look and see what showrunner is, and it's the leading producer on a television series. And it's like an executive producer. But like I want to see Dear White People cast. I can't tell. I can't tell. I can't tell. Let's see on IMDb. So anyways, I mean, like, literally, there's people on the show that are trans and talking about this. Like, but people are focusing on the white person. I don't get it. So, nerd teacher, I don't. I have to look on. Let me. I might as well just look her up. Let's see. Let's look on TikTok. This is compelling radio or television or internets. Let's have a look. She said, "Cast me in your movie. I'm an actor." Oh, but she doesn't have it. She doesn't. Well, that's frustrating. She doesn't have a link tree or anything. But she... Oh.
Imagine if Black people had an issue with someone's harmful words that did harm to the Black community, and it was just dismissed as being canceled, as cancel culture. Oh, wait, that's actually happening. I'm Black. and Dave Chappelle's words stand to harm me and people like me, Black transgender people like me. Like, this is absolutely insane. It is so offensive for someone to say, I love this. I love that your community is saying, hey, please don't do this and please don't say harmful things about me. This is fun. I'm basking in this. You can't cancel me. I'm so cool and I'm so edgy. It's like, no, you're a bigot. You're a bigot and you're standing in your bigotness. And it's really not tea. Imagine if Black people had an issue with someone's harmful words.
The scumbags that are like, there's people. God, I fucking hate people. Like, there's literally someone that said, for a community of people who cut off and glue body parts on themselves, you'd think at some point they'd get a spine and take a joke. I'm going to report that. Bum, 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 bum. We'll call that hate speech. Fucking assholes. Anyways. Like, again, like I said, I could. I went through her page and was looking a lot at because she literally had where she was talking about. I think it's
on Clay. She's
If you clap, give a girl a job.
So literally, I mean, you have people talking about you have people talking about the white producer, but you don't have them talking about a Black trans woman actually on that show. Just goes to show you. Anyways. Nerd Teacher said, first line on IMDb, Jacqueline Moore was born on April 24th, 1988 in Cleveland, Ohio, USA. And then they have her dead name. She is a producer and a writer known for Dear White People. Is that nerd teacher? Are you talking about? Hold on, because I'm confused. Oh, you mean because Jacqueline Moore is white, they're pissed off because she's a transgender producer and a writer on the show. I mean, I could understand if they were upset because there's a white woman producing the show. I could see that being an issue, but when it comes to Dave Chappelle, no, because there's literally black voices that I've just platformed talking about Dave Chappelle, but they want to focus on the race of the white women as an excuse, because the producer, I mean, complaining about Dave Chappelle doesn't make her case any less valid. She's coming at it from a trans perspective, but here is a black actor talking about literally the same thing and not getting the platform. Anyways, that was a rabbit hole. Rinstar, who is one of the people on oh boy, excuse me, on TikTok that I love. She made a really good point, and this, if you've ever heard of,
Didn't that case study show that
David Reimer and John Money? If you know about basically, there was a child. I think it was Reimer. Yeah, David Reimer. So basically, what happened is that there was a in the mid '60s, John Money encouraged a gender reassignment of David Reimer, who was born a biological male but suffered irreparable damage to his penis as an infant. Born in 1965 as Bruce, his penis was irreparably damaged during infancy due to a failed circumcision. After encouragement from Money, Reimer's parents decided to raise Reimer as a girl. And this is what Rinstar said.
you cannot change your inherent sex even with socialization and surgery. He was technically forced to be transgender with surgery and socialization, which caused the trauma. Not trying to say this applies to any other trans folks, but this story doesn't seem to prove your argument. The story perfectly proves my argument, and let me further explain why. David Reimer was cis. His inherent gender and sex was male. All his life, even though he was physically changed and socialized into being a girl, he knew in his heart of hearts that he was a boy. If you cannot force a cis child to be trans, then by the exact same token, you can't force a trans child to be cis. People just are what they are, and you cannot force that to change. So a trans person who never goes through surgery, who never goes through a transition process, who tries to deny the fact that they are in fact the opposite gender of what they were assigned at birth, is still trans, even if they are allowed to express it or they don't express it because they are afraid to or whatever. It doesn't change the reality of the fact that they are trans. Any more than changing David Reimer's penis into a vagina and treating him as a girl changed the fact that he was a boy. Basically, Reimer's story shows us that gender is something you are on the inside, regardless of your physical body or how you were socialized as a child. So when someone assigned male at birth comes out and says, hey, I'm actually a woman, that's as true as when David Reimer realized, hey, despite the fact that they gave me this vagina and called me a girl's name, I'm actually a boy.
Exactly. So I have quite a bit more content to go, but actually we're going to slide down Comedy Mountain because if I continue on this, I'll be going into 1 a.m. and I don't want to do that. I'm going to bed soon because I have to work in the morning. But so we'll save some of this for Wednesday. Right? Yeah, it's Saturday. Technically, it's Sunday, but anyways. Our next show will have some of this content that I'm missing on here. Where are we? Here we go. I'm going to put that down at the bottom because I want to play that last. But I thought this was funny. This was from one of my comrades from Black Bloc Politics.
If you ain't at Chick-fil-A, then where you at?
I'm eating a chicken sandwich with actual flavor. I'm contributing money that support LGBTQIA. I'm not being a racist piece of shit. That's where I'm at.
Oh my God. And this comes from Crutches and Spice, who I absolutely adore.
I am deaf. I know that is upbeat. It's so big. It's so fucking big. Bam, bam. Harita. Harita. Seriously. Harita.
A deaf person is literally oh my God, telling these white girls that they're offbeat. And they are. Some random geek said, Steve Shives said that chicken at Chick-fil-A is not good. You know, I wouldn't even know, because literally I can remember only eating at Chick-fil-A one time, and it was in probably 1987. When they closed on Sundays, I started seeing, oh, this is no, I'm not supporting that. Even when I was a Christian, because I just felt it didn't seem right. It didn't sit with me right. Okay, we're going back to Ren Star again. Some random geek. What I will say is that if you're going to have fast food chicken, I like Popeyes. If you're gonna have that kind of food, you want to have that kind of food, I'm literally gonna go to Popeyes. So personally, I just looked up because I wondered if Popeyes was black owned. It said for decades, Popeyes, which is owned by Restaurant Brands International, has cooked Cajun food inspired by black culture, presented racially representative marketing, and offered practical rungs to entrepreneurship in the 1980s. More than a fifth of the restaurant's franchises were owned by black entrepreneurs. But yeah, I prefer. Well, I can't say I prefer because I've never ate Chick-fil-A in a way that I remember. You know, because it's been 35 years, something like that. But that being said, I really like Popeye's chicken. I think it's fantastic. So yeah. I'm not going to support a company. And, you know, I had a family member that would sit there and make jokes about taking me to Popeyes. And honestly, that has pushed me away from that individual, because that's not cool. And that's not something that I appreciate. So anyways, yeah, eat at Popeyes. I found this absolutely fucking hilarious.
Can someone please explain why America uses Fahrenheit and not clitoris?
Now, sweetheart, I don't want to give you misinformation, but I think clitoris is that little bald-headed baby on PBS.
You talking about that kid, Caillou. The clitoris is that one day on December 25th, you give each other gifts and you celebrate the birth of the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
No, silly, that's Christmas. The clitoris is obviously that company that makes those facial care products, to help prevent acne.
Apparently, we're having problems finding the clitoris and knowing exactly what it is. I totally vibed with this, by the way.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
Oh, and here comes Sakithia.
And 5-star reviews on Amazon. It immediately removed a 2-year-old stain in my carpet, so I wanted to try it on some other.
I ain't saying shit. I'm not. It removed a 2-year-old stain on her carpet. You heard her.
I didn't get that at first. And then I went back and I was like, oh, yeah, that was unfortunate timing or it was a good edit. But either way.
Hi, can I get an iced pumpkin spice latte? Ugh, I have to listen to someone order another pumpkin spice latte. I'm gonna jump in front of traffic. Okay, so do it. What? Don't say it if you're not gonna follow through. I was making a joke. There's a whole line of infinity scarves behind me, so you better keep your word. I was making a joke because pumpkin spice lattes are so basic. It's a seasonal flavor. The are you expecting? It's just annoying. What's annoying? Me ordering a delicious autumnal drink because I want to enjoy my goddamn day? I not enjoying something because it's popular doesn't make you interesting or special. You're as bitter as the coffee you consume. Oh my God, can you relax? The only reason you're so proud about not liking things that other people like is because it's the only taste of superiority you will ever feel in your entire life, but it doesn't make you look cool. It's all an illusion. You are a coward, John. How did you know my name? I took a guess because John's a pretty basic name. Wouldn't you agree, John? Okay. Shut the up, John.
Yeah, John, shut up. Oh God. Like, I love creators like her. There's another person that does videos of multiple characters, all themselves. And she's one of them. Her name's Stanzi Patinza. And she's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Also, I don't know if you've seen this meme going around kind of with oh fuck, what do you call it? For COVID, and people say, "We're America," blah 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 blah. Somebody took their video and made this.
This is America. America. America.
This is America.
This is a bad place.
America. So yeah, it was funny, and I like it. Okay. So, I can't decide. No, I'm going to end with that one because it's the funniest fucking one of all. So this made me laugh. This is from Anne Russell, and she's a British woman, and she regularly posts really good content. Some of it's like how to clean your oven correctly or the best way. She's a cleaner, but she also posts stuff about people were ask her questions, and she got this.
This was on the thread about somebody thinking their neighbors didn't like them because they didn't speak.
This says, I've been very lucky when I moved in. Everyone came and said hello with gifts.
If you did that to me, I'd have to move. I'm sorry. For most places I've lived in the UK, you just don't do that. You move in somewhere and people might nod at you or smile at you, or you might say, oh, when are the bins due or whatever. but you really don't turn up with stuff. I mean, I'd be terrified you were going to keep turning up and coming into my house, and then I'd have to speak to you. And oh God, no, I don't want that commitment. I want a year or two to work out if you're the kind of person that I might want to associate with. And then I've got to have a way of not speaking to you if I decide I don't like you, because I don't want to be rude to you, even if I can't stand you. I'll be polite. So if you do that, I'm going to have to be rude. And I don't want to have to be rude. Don't do that. It makes people have to be rude to you, to tell you to sod off. Just smile and put a hand up and don't make eye contact too much. Honestly, give it time.
This is so funny because it's so British. It is so fucking British. It's like I was just shocked when I moved here with that. It's like, you don't want somebody to be nice to you. I don't understand. And then it's like, oh, well, it's a level of commitment. By the way, I thought this next thing was funny just because it's so fucking true. And you all that watch YouTube, you know this is true.
What's up, guys? It's your boy. I'm back with another video on the YouTube channel. Now, before we get into any semblance of content, make sure you mutilate the like button, comment, subscribe, and fuck your dad. This video is sponsored by CuntVPN. Use promo code FUCK for 10% off your fucking purchase. So, with all that out of the way, let's dive right into our second sponsorship. SkillFuck allows you to advance your fucking skills.
Oh, God. Oh, God, that is so fucking right on the money. Smash that like button. Mutilate it. Oh, my God. Oh, God. Okay. Anyways, y'all. Oh, God. Oh, God. We got one more. This is just wrong, but I'm playing it anyways because it's funny as shit.
Hell no. Come on, wait till the no.
Jesus picks up the wine. This is my blood. Jesus picks up the bread. This is my body. The guy who just ate mayonnaise. God damn it. That is fucking just right.
Come on. Hell to the no. To the no. Come on. Hell no. To the no. To the no.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, that is fucking miraculous. Some random cake. Well, at least you got there. Oh, God. This is my body. What's white and mayonnaise-ish? Okay. I think I just had a stroke. Anyways. Y'all have a good night. That. It's got everything. It's got Jesus. It's got a cum reference. What more do you want? It's literally got a dick joke. We as Bill Hicks called it, we just slid down Dick Joke Mountain. What more do you want? Anyways, folks, thank you all for coming. I don't know if I should say it that way. Maybe we'll find the clitoris before next show. So I've been doing this new thing where I realized I was missing a lot of content. So I'm trying to delete stuff as I go and then just keep the playlist so I can use it later. But yes, I want to replace it. Anyways, I'm going to use this content later. But thank you guys thanks for coming tonight and sharing with me. That's why I love doing this. I love doing this because I feel like I'm starting to build a community of people that I want to do this around and be with and share with, and almost have a stroke while I'm doing it. I was just thinking about that. What if that happened? I would be probably somewhat famous. Someone died while streaming, you know. I wouldn't know about it. This was weird too. It's funny. Did you see that? I had to transition on the wrong one, but that looked pretty good. Oopsies. I need to figure out how to get it done. But yeah, like Rent became one of the most famous plays, but the guy that created it didn't know. Hey, wait, I'm not ready to do that yet. Not ready to do that yet. There we go. I'm trying to actually what I was trying to do is get this thing to actually. Anyways, if you want to help out mutual aid wise, you can go to charitylinks.page. If you want to join our friends tonight, or yeah, it is tonight because it's almost 12:30 here. Social Justice Alchemy. Jonathan will put links to that in the chat, I'm sure. You can join us there. But if you want to help our comrades out, go to charitylinks.page. Also, if you want to help out Comrade Sparkles, Comrade Thanos, Black Politics, you can go and do that on, I think he has his Venmo on his TikTok as well. But if you want to do that, you can do that. But just help some motherfuckers out. I love you guys. And I hope you have a great week. And I will see you on Wednesday. That's the wrong fucking one. Jesus Christ. There we go. I know how to do this.